From monastery to monastery. Dalai Lama means ocean of wisdom. The last illusion that Tibet could live freely with its culture and beliefs was shattered. With attacks and ambushes, the revolt continued. The resistance had spread all the way to Lhasa. The Chinese army struck back, but the Dalai Lama condemned violence of any kind in his messages. He was warned it was time to leave. During the night of March 17th, he put on a Chinese uniform, and with almost no escorts, he left the palace. Destination unknown. The inhabitants of Lhasa rose up, 20,000 civilians against 40,000 Chinese soldiers. The rioting lasted 3 days. It was put down violently and rapidly. Freedom was gone. The resistance had ended. Propaganda footage was shot to discredit the monks. There were thousands of deaths, more than 10,000 in Lhasa and at least 100,000 throughout the country. Everything was destroyed. The Dalai Lama was hiding in the mountain. The Chinese were looking for him, saying he had been kidnapped by counter-revolutionaries. The hiding out lasted 3 weeks. By the end of March, he was in India. The Tibetan government was no more. Lhasa was under siege and silent. Welcomed by Nehru, the Dalai Lama began life in exile. He has lived in exile ever since. The Dalai Lama desperately tried to tell the whole world about the genocide and repression taking place in Tibet. The Panchen Lama was still a hostage, and the official Tibetan leader named by the Chinese. He renounced collaborating with the Chinese several times, and 5 years later offered his public support to the Dalai Lama. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison, and then house arrest in Beijing. Tibet was completely annexed. The Chinese army continued south to straighten out its borders with India, which was now directly threatened. The future of the world was being played out elsewhere, in Berlin and in Cuba. The Cold War had little to do with India and Tibet.